Webinar Leads For You presents the Webinar Summit about Mastering Academic Zen, How to Master Mental Resilience for Student Success. Academic Zen is not about some mystical calm, but for the art of maintaining focus, adaptability, and positivity amidst study challenges. In today's session, we delve into mental health and eco-anxiety, significant hurdles in every student's academic path. Universities play a crucial role, offering techniques and environments that nurture mental well-being and foster academic flourishing. We will uncover strategies for developing a mindset equipped to face academic storms with grace and strength. Through Academic Zen, students learn not just to survive, but to thrive, transforming challenges into stepping stones for growth. Join the discussion in the Webinar Summit to discover how universities, a mental health coach, and experts can help you to academic success.
Okay, great. Welcome everybody to this webinar summit. As you heard in the introduction already, about academic Zen. In other words, getting tools and tips about mastering your mental health and your mental resilience for student success. My name is Luc Mulling from Webinar Leads For You, and I welcome you again, everyone. And I already see different people joining in from different parts of the world, so that's great to see. And we also have 3 great speakers lined up. But before we go over to them, let me briefly explain the interactive options that we have for you, as we like to make it as interactive as possible. So first of all, by all means, say where you're logging in from in the chat. That would be great for all of us to see and get some idea where you're logging in from. Also, if you have any questions, please submit them through the panel called questions at the right bottom. Then we will be able to answer them, hopefully, at the end. Also, I will be opening up some pollings. There's actually already a polling open. So just to know a little bit more about you, about your background in this case. And we'll ask a couple of polling questions throughout the session. And last but not least, there's actually also a fun button at the bottom of the screen. We have a little button called React. If you click on that, you can give us your reaction. Exactly. For example, that one we like to get. So just to make a little bit more interactive as well. So if you hear something you like, then by all means, let us know. Now, without further ado, let's go over to the presenters, as we have 3 great presenters, as mentioned to you, lined up there. So great that they joined us from different parts of the world. So we have them all logging in from different parts. And let's start off with Solen. Welcome, Solen. Maybe you can briefly introduce yourself. And I believe you're logging in from Bali, right?
Yes, hello everyone and welcome. So indeed, I'm French, I live in Belgium, and I'm right now in Bali. So it's truly an international session, I think. All of us are in different places of the world. So very happy to have you with us. Regarding myself, I am the founder and CEO of Vanillea International, and I have 2 target groups. The first one is universities, so I help them develop their international relations. And the second one is students who want to study abroad. So this is what I do. I have some training in coaching for orientation and motivation, especially for young people. So that's it in a nutshell about me. If you want to know more, I can tell you. But right now, I think I give the mic to Sue.
Thank you. I like passing the ball here. So I'm Sue Macarella. I'm the Director of Study Abroad and Global Engagement at Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University. And we have campuses in Florida, Arizona, Singapore, and worldwide. I actually just left Solene in Bali, and I'm coming to you guys from Perth, Australia, at the API conference. So if any of you all are at API right now, please let me know. I would love to meet up with you at API to say hello. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I'm taking the ball. Hello everyone. I'm Christian. I'm French, and I'm a teacher and researcher in management in a business school in Paris, and I'm director of research of development for the Wake Up Lab, which is a think and do tank specialized in sustainability. So we are working on how to make education more sustainable and more adapted to the challenges raised by environmental crisis and social crisis. Yeah.
Great. Well, welcome everyone again, and yeah, let's start off. Let's hear about the students' mental health. Christian has prepared his share. He will kick it off. So go ahead, Christian.
Yes. So as a researcher, I just wanted to give you an overview on this topic of students' mental health. I was hesitating between such presentation and such title and the title of Time Bomb because I think mental health and students' mental health is a real time bombs. I will explain why. Um, just some figures from France on the large study that was led in France in 2023. The results were very worrying and but interesting. 41% of young people aged 18 to 24 say they are experiencing moderate or severe depression. That is very huge, and it's very important topic. In comparison, before the COVID-19, there were 25%. So there is a real COVID-19 effect. 1 in 5 students reported having suicidal thoughts before 2020, so before the COVID. And after the COVID, there were 1 in 3. That's also preoccupating. 70% of young people feel alone, and 25% feel very alone. And in France, remote psychological support units noted an increase of 40% of regrets after the pandemic. And among young adults, there are more young adults that are not in training or not employed, that suffer from the highest rates of depression. So education and activities, employment can have a good effect on mental health. Student life, you know it's a period of vulnerability with moving from the parents' house, transition, adjustment in personal life. There are some academic requirements that can give some pressure in graduate studies, social isolation, financial precarity. When you are a student, you are experimenting life and many things in life, and experimenting maybe some risky behaviors that can affect mental and physical health. That's important to integrate, and new responsibilities, managing time, finances, social relationships, and life choices. This period of vulnerability is very complicated and worrying in polycrisis world, characterized by the health crisis and the different lockdowns that can have affected many students in what concerns their studies, the organization during the studies, and the organization during the way they can give and have access to the health system, that can have affected their precarity and the access to new jobs, for example. And there are also some geopolitical concerns with the Ukraine situation, Israel, Middle East problems that can affect mental health. Students can have access to very violent videos or images on the social networks, and the context of the environmental crisis, and with an important term, the term of eco anxiety. Maybe you know it. It's a psychological response to the uncertainty raised by the environmental crisis, and that eco anxiety can be expressed by some worrying, fears, more stress that can affect also the mental health, and maybe some addictions, in particular addiction to social networks, with the concept of FOMO, fear of missing out, missing out on news that have some effects on the mental health. The situation is to be put into perspective. The collective awareness on mental health is increasing, and that's very interesting. And there are some favorable echoes in the pop culture, music, art, sports. For example, some professional sportsmen and sportswomen give some very interesting testimonies about their mental health problems. We're thinking about Naomi Osaka in tennis, Simon Bell in gymnastics, Neymar and Thierry Henry in football. And Thierry Henry, the football champion, recently gave a very interesting and passionate testimony on his depression. So that's very interesting, and now it is easier to speak about one's mental health troubles, and maybe it is why the figures are so high. It is also very interesting because it's a way for us and the opportunity for us to free the floor and to create new spaces about speaking to such topic, and new spaces that can permit to innovate and create some solutions and some tips, to share some tips to go for it. And I assume that Sue and Soleil will speak about it, and about the way we can tackle this issue in universities, and go for it. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Hi, yeah, so I'm kind of a basic person when it comes to student mental health. I already introduced myself, and Christian had talked about addiction to social media. But I think even that part of that addiction, not just the addiction, but social media, promotes this unnatural glorification of what your body should be, what you should wear, what cars you should buy, where you should go, how you party. All of that kind of thing compounds this addiction that students have to social media. But it's not just the social media. We've got the news. And I don't know about the other countries. I can talk about America. If you watch the news, the world is ending. If you didn't know, it's quite depressing for students to see the news with the climate crisis and the stress of just different things that are going on in the world. And the one thing too is what is your home life? Have your are your parents together? Do you have a good solid family, whether they're together or not, that supports you in things that you do? How are you brought up? So there's all kinds of things that go in, of course, as you guys know, to the students' mental health. So with that, I'm going to segue into our story. And as I said, I'm the Director of Study Abroad and Global Engagement at Embry-Riddle. And last summer, I have a lot of faculty-led programs that go out over the summer with our students. We send out well over 300 students every year. And we had one particular program, and I've been doing this 12 years with no incident, nothing serious. And I was actually on vacation. It was the summer I was on vacation. My boss was turning of a certain age, and he had people flying in from all over to celebrate this certain age. And I was up in North Carolina. Again, I live in Florida. I'm sorry, South Carolina. I live in Florida. And I got a phone call from our partner in Santa Italy saying, and I couldn't understand really well, but bottom line, one of our students had committed suicide. Thank God. We were in Santa Italy, and Santa Italy is a location where they have a medical school. And my partner was saying that they were able to reanimate him. And this is the cultural piece that comes in, because reanimation of a person is not something I was familiar with. And so I was like, please explain to me, what does reanimation mean? And it meant that they brought the student back from death. So what happened immediately, our policy is to get someone over to wherever the crisis is within 24 to 48 hours. We also have a requirement of a number of professors that have to be on a program, depending on where the program is. In this particular case, the professor was just one professor, because we have a very trusted partner over there. But the one thing is this was at night, and two of the students found the one student, and they knew something was going on the way the student was texting another one. But they couldn't get a hold of the professor, which is very important. The professor was already asleep, and I was on the phone and the students knew where the professor was staying, and we eventually were able to wake up the professor and get the professor involved. The partner was phenomenal. They were there within 5 minutes. They called the medical. But to get someone over on the ground, as part of our policy, I was on vacation. So it would take me a while to get back, because we had to pack up our equipment and things like that. So I couldn't go for a while until I got back to Florida. My boss couldn't leave because they had people flying in from all over the place to celebrate his birthday. So already 2 layers are gone, right? 2 layers are gone. But luckily we had even more than 2 layers when it is talking about crisis relief. And we were able to send our university chaplain over there to be, on the scene within 48 hours of the crisis beginning. We were also able to send one of the parents over there. It was a very complicated situation for this child, which also compounded, no doubt, the reason that he attempted to kill himself while he was over there. It turns out also that the student was spurned by another student, which means that it was rejected by another student. So that furthered whatever mental health issues he was having, to create the situation for him. And one thing about what we do is when students apply for our programs, and this is based on our university attorney, is it is all self-reporting. And of course, you guys know with the privacy laws in Europe and how that goes. And this student did not self-report any kind of mental health issue. So immediately we are at a disadvantage for helping any students that might have any kind of issues while over there. So it turned out very well that he did survive. We had the mother over there. We were with the mother 24/7. We got her from the airport. We took her there. And, you know, thank goodness everything turned out right. Interestingly, the student, after he was reanimated and after he was in a coma for quite a while, but after we got him out of the coma, the student wanted to stay on the program. And I was like, no, the student must return. Because again, when something like that happens and you have a lot of students who are also there, it just doesn't affect the student who tried to commit suicide. It affects those that are around, especially affects those who found the student. What we did is we also tried to protect his privacy as much as possible, because not all the students knew exactly what happened. It's very difficult when it's a group and they obviously know something's missing, but we did as much as we could to protect his privacy. And definitely we did what the students did. We had told the students, please do not share, you know, what happened. You know, it's okay to say that, you know, there was a medical issue. So those are some of the things that we did. The student did return to home and did not return to the regular academics at our university. Took off a semester. This is actually the first semester that the student is back and doing well so far. So it was quite a horrifying story, and the layers of response that we had, although the first two layers dissolved, I had actually turned back. We had driven 2 hours back towards Florida, as we were trying to figure out who our response person was going to be. And actually I was able to continue on vacation, but once that happens, you're never back on vacation, because you're monitoring the situation and having lots of communication and information with the leadership of the university and with the family and the professor on there, because also your professors are also affected when things like this happen. So even if it's at your university and it might not be on a study abroad program, but you have an international student at your university and they attempt suicide, or are able to complete suicide. I was just talking to a friend at another university, and they've had 5 suicides of international students at their university. So there's something happening, which is very sad with that. So I'll segue into that about what we do. You heard about our study abroad program. So I'm coming from a little bit of a different angle when it talks about study abroad and global engagement and exchange. But what we do for our international students, whether they're exchange students coming in or international students who are getting a 4-year degree at our university, I think we have a wonderful infrastructure for our international students who are coming in to see us. So one is they must carry insurance, and they have to meet our insurance, whether they buy our insurance or they're able to get another insurance and bring that in that has the same coverage as ours, which would include counseling services. So that's one thing. So they have to carry that. We also have our own counseling services on campus, on all of our campuses. So if any student is having any kind of issue, they're welcome to go there, and they can do it online, virtually with someone, or they can go in person, whatever they're feeling more comfortable with as well. We have incoming mandatory orientation that covers some issues on mental health as well, and they all have to go on it. And if they happen to miss it for whatever reason, we catch them, and we still get to, they still have to participate in the mandatory orientation. I think one of the most important things for international students at your university is that you, I want to say where the tire hits the road is really with your professors who are in class teaching these international students. They're with that student, in some cases 3 times a week. So the professors get to know their students. And they can tell when their students might be not performing like they should or behaving differently. So what we also have is we always have something available to our professors and staff that of student of concern. So if there is a student that maybe our international student services is talking to, or one of our professors notes that there's an issue with a student, there's a student of concern form, online form that our professors can fill out or our staff can fill out. And we immediately, get with that student to find out what is going on, do a mental health intervention, or, just talk to them, see, what's going on, how are you feeling? So there's also continuous opportunities for students to engage and become involved in the university, not just academically. Because academics will, if you're like me, I was not a strong academic. I'm lucky to have gotten my degree. I'll admit that, but to engage on a social level, so that maybe they don't feel so alone, that they do have a common group of individuals to hang around with. And as much as we try and get our international students who are exchanged to integrate, and many of them do, most of them do, but sometimes they like to meet with each other. So they might be from Germany or from France or from Singapore, wherever, and they tend to get together because they have this common bond. And I don't try to break that. I don't try to say, oh my gosh, you're not integrated into the American culture. You know why? Because as soon as they step off the plane in America, they're engaging in the American culture. There's no way to get away from it. Or if our student goes, over to Morocco, they are going to be engaging in the Moroccan culture no matter what. So sometimes some of the best ones are to be with other international students, because you're going through the same adjustment time, and mental adjustments to which you are, different food, different language, different way of doing things. So getting them engaged is and continuous opportunities to do that. And also surveys. We do send out surveys every once in a while, a climate survey, how are you doing? What could we do better to serve you? And also our accessibility is very high. Students can just walk in. If they need to see us, they can just walk in. We are not at an arm's length. We are not where, okay, look, these are the only times you can come in. They can come in and talk to us anytime if they need help. So, and I have the one thing written down there, and the one thing was at the top. And I will tell you the one thing, I don't care how much you have in place as far as helping students, whether it's the mental health side, whether it's the reporting side, whether it's the helping them become more engaged in the university. But the one thing is that if you don't have a culture of caring for these students, whether they're international or domestic students, it's not going to matter. You've got to have that culture of caring and understanding the concept that each individual has a need. And it's not that you have to know what each of the students' needs are, but you have to have the willingness to learn and listen to what each of those students' needs are. So those are just my takeaways. And I hope that it has helped you guys. And with that, I'm going to move it over to Celine. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you, Sue. Thank you. So we've addressed quite a few things with Christian and Sue already, like having the overview, addressing a few issues, having a real life unfortunate experience, and how the university dealt with it. Not only the home university, but also the host university. So I think it was a great example to see how it can happen at unknown times and how solidarity can prevail. So I'll be going over my presentation. So after addressing this, I think it's important to recognize and accept that we may all have at certain points of our lives some mental health issues, and it's okay. it's totally okay. And if someone is trying to tell you that it's only you or something, it's normally not true, because we all have those kind of phases. And the idea is, when you have recognized and accepted, then you can try to find your solution, the ones that will work for you, and try to transform a bit of this vicious circle into a virtuous one. So I already talked about me, so I won't be going over that again. I just wanted to mention that I'm working on a European project called Emerge, which is about empowering the next generation of entrepreneurs through stress management education in youth. So the idea is to help young people, especially the one who are not in education, employment, or training. Christian mentioned them in his presentation, that they are even more affected by mental health issues. But we actually address any young people who want to develop their stress management skills. So if you in the audience are interested in the results of our project, we will start working this May, and the project will last 2 years. So feel free to reach out to me if you want to know what we do, and I hope that it can help you. So there is a QR code here. We can't use it with the tool that we have right now. So I'll be just asking you questions. Please write in the chat to participate a little bit, because I want to know more about you. So the first thing I would like to know is what comes to your mind when you hear about mental health, about mental well-being. If you can just write a few words that come to your mind, because it can be something different for everyone. So I let you a few seconds, few minutes to tell us, because 4 of us with Luke are here, and we are talking about all this. But I saw in the questions already some people participating. Focus, peace of mind. Okay, that's great. Great words to start. Anyone else wants to contribute? I'm really interested in knowing what comes to your mind. Focus again. All right. I think inner peace, stability. Okay. All right. So relaxed. Okay, this is really good. Peace. So yeah, there is a common idea right here, right? Of, if you can imagine some water that doesn't move too much. Well, we do know that life is not like this. It's more like a river. If some of you watch Pocahontas, sometimes it's a crazy river, and sometimes it will be a very quiet one. Okay, thank you for contributing. Then I would like to ask you, how have you been feeling since, for example, the beginning of this year, the beginning of 2024, from, I don't know, scale to very bad to awesome? If you can, yes, tell us a little bit about that. How have you been feeling lately? And maybe if you can tell us why, what was the reason? Was it because of exams, of money, of family, of what we see in the news? Anything else? If you can share that with us a little bit, so we have a better idea. Okay, we have a 4 here. Number 2. Okay, please, more neutral. We're waiting for maybe 2, 3 more answers. Yes, number 2. I guess it's Anna. Yeah, indeed. So this affects you a lot. Yes, for probably various reasons. Previous persons like Max, Christian, maybe you can tell us, okay, death of, yes, a family member. Of course, it affects you, indeed, not only in personal life, but everything else. Okay. Thank you for sharing that with us. Waiting. Been feeling lonely. Okay, yeah, we have been talking about this in Christian's presentation as well. So my next question is, when you feel stressed or anxious or sad, what do you do that helps? Or what did you try but didn't really help? Can you tell us a bit more about this? Maybe some other participants will be interested as well in what you say. Maybe they will try that out for themselves. So it will be a good contribution, might be helpful for someone else. So if you could tell us a bit more about what you do when you're not feeling great. Just giving you some time to think and write. Let's see, we have a few answers incoming. Sports, read a book. Okay, that's really good. The answer is coming. Dance to my feelings. Oh, that's great. Go for a walk. Yeah, that's really nice. Yoga. Okay. Anything else that you would like to share? Eat? Yeah, that's good. Okay, listen to music and relax. Okay, so we have a few things related to physical activity, other things more like the stomach, and something else, yes, is more about feeling, reading, watching a movie. Okay, that's really nice. Thank you for sharing that with us. I just wanted to share with you a few solutions, a few options. The idea is that you don't have to try everything. You can try a few of them and see if it works out for you or not. Okay, exercise, really good. And it's just to give you a few options that you can pick if you want. So the first thing is something that came very naturally in the answers, is about the physical well-being, which can be really related to how you feel in your mind, and it can help you. So you have activities which will help you release some steam. So we have seen dancing, walking, exercising, and some other activities will be more like to calm you down. The meditation, the yoga, the breathing as well. So I'm just giving a few examples and application names. That some of them that I use, some of them I heard about them. Maybe you know others. That's also for sure. So to breathe, to help you, and for exercise, I used to watch Blog Pilates because it's at the same time she's doing Pilates and she's doing empowerment speeches. So she's combining both things. So these are a few ideas. Having a good sleep is also important. I know it's not always easy, but I found for myself that having some kind of routine, and I try to stretch just a few minutes before sleeping, and it helps as well. But maybe it will be something else for you. The most important is that you can find what works for you in particular, and it may work today, but not next year. I don't know. Maybe you had something that worked a few months ago, but not anymore, and that's okay. That's okay because we evolve. Another thing is about creativity and some me time, some alone time. So it could be to collect your thoughts or on the opposite side, like to not think at all, to just turn off your brain and do something. And usually it works when you do something with your hands. So it could be crafting something. There are so many options to be crafting and using your hands, puzzle, crochet, coloring, painting, anything, building something. And journaling also, it's working for some people, to be writing, to put the things out of your head. Playing games, that's also may help some people for sure. Another thing is, so we had the me time, more alone time. We also have the social activities. So on through social networks, but also with people. So what I would really recommend, because we've been talking about social media in the presentation, and I would really suggest that you sort the accounts you follow. Keep the accounts that make you feel good, not the ones that make you feel less, that make you feel sad, that make you feel, I don't know, threatened or something. Follow accounts. Yeah, I see a comment. Social media is not social. So let's make it a little bit more empowering for you. There are a few accounts that I follow myself here, but I probably have, you probably have others. So if you like scrolling, then make sure that maybe your feed is filled with more positive things than negative, or comparing yourself to someone else, because you already know that and you heard it, but I'm saying it again. What you see on social media is not the reality. It's what people want to show you, and it's what you want to show people. So it's not reality. Then you can search through. I mentioned I'm now living in Belgium. I arrived in France last year, and I knew nobody in Belgium. So I was a bit anxious to think, okay, how am I going to meet people? And actually, I realized that there are a few expat Facebook groups that I could join. It's just an example. Okay, it can be many other things. Maybe you've heard about Meetup, Nextdoor, or Discord communities, for example. And that's actually how I met few friends. And I say that I kind of feel like an Erasmus student right now, because I made a lot of friends from Belgium, from Brazil, from India, from other parts of Europe. And it's wonderful. And I never thought I could actually find people through Facebook. So that's what, again, that's what worked for me. Maybe for you, it will be something else, but it feels good to have a group of people that you can meet when you want. And actually, all the previous activities that I mentioned, you can do them on your own, or you can do it with friends, like all the crafting, all the exercising. You can do it with other people as well, for sure. So don't hesitate to reach out to someone. Be the one to reach out to someone, because you'll be helping yourself and maybe you'll be helping someone else. Another thing is within your work, because some of you are studying, right? So maybe sometimes you feel overwhelmed, you don't know where to start, you're procrastinating a bit, maybe. You can concentrate. So there are a few apps as well that are good for project management. So I mentioned that I'm an entrepreneur. So of course I do need this kind of tools to help me manage my time, manage my planning, help concentrate. So you have all the agenda apps, some other free apps for concentrating. You have, like, for example, I have an app built in my laptop that I can turn on to say, okay, I don't want any notification during 20, 30 minutes, 1 hour, so that I can concentrate on a task. And it can be something as simple as putting your phone away from you, not in a arm reaching distance, so that you don't feel tempted to look at it. And as I was saying, also try to test things. Maybe you've heard about, I don't know how it's called, but if you are a wolf or a bear or something, a dolphin, I don't remember the fourth one, but depending on, maybe you feel more productive in the morning, or maybe it's in the evening. So try to focus on that and see, okay, right now I'm not able to concentrate at all, so maybe I should do something else. And I know that in early morning, usually I'm quite fresh, so maybe that's when I should be working on something. But that you can only know if you try to track your habits a little bit and if you try out things. So some won't work and some will. And again, you can find inspiration on some YouTube channels, on websites. There are some books about productivity, time management. So that's also another thing. Very important. I mentioned all those things, okay? But do not put more pressure on yourself than you already have, okay? Be your best friend, because even myself, sometimes I see, okay, maybe I should do Pilates 20 minutes, and maybe I should read a book 30 minutes, and maybe I should do face yoga for 7 minutes. And if it keeps going on like this, then I don't have time to do anything else. So it's not possible to do everything. And some days you just want to do nothing at all. And that's also okay. If you don't want, don't force yourself. Just do things that make you feel good, that you have an interest in. So that was an important point I wanted to mention to you. So keep it in mind. And we're going to the end of the presentation. Sometimes it won't be enough. Okay, those are a few pathways that you can try, but sometimes it's not enough, and it's okay as well. Maybe you need some coaching or therapy. So just quickly, what's the difference? Coaching will be about finding your how to do things, and you will be finding that by yourself. And about psychology or psychiatry, it's a medical professional who will be helping you out. And psychiatrists may prescribe medication also if it's necessary. So keep in mind that if you need to see someone, it's fine. It's fine. It's much better today than it was a few years ago. To say that you're seeing someone to help you, it's not the problem to ask someone for help, right? Um, so for help, you can see if maybe your universities has some on-site psychologists. Like Sue mentioned that it's the case in her university. There is a team to help students, for example. You can check around you. It's as simple as checking on Google Maps, for example, if there are psychologists or coaches. And if you have a money issue, I know what it is to be a student, you can ask them. Most of them, they will do a lower price for you because you're a student. So don't hesitate to ask. And there are also other online services where you can talk to a psychologist or a coach online. Don't hesitate to try that out as well if you're not so comfortable in meeting someone face to face. So there are many different options, and there are national ones as well. There is in France we call it Doctolib, for example, and I'm sure maybe in your country you have something similar. And on the university side, it's good to know if you have some medical centers or personnel in your campus that you can redirect your student to. And if you don't have the possibility to have the necessary resources inside because your institution is too small, for example, I would recommend to partner maybe with local therapists, local coaches that you can send students to, and maybe you could also ask them to make lower prices for the students. So it's fine. Just quick overview, there are some wellness centers in universities. So I gave some examples in a business school in France. If you want, we can share the presentation after, so you can click on the links. The case from Campus Science U Lyon is interesting because it's actually a group of schools and they share some facilities. So there will be different schools, but they will share the mental health facilities. So that's a good option. Just another example in the US, in India. And I wanted to mention, if some of you are familiar with European universities, there is one created in 2020 called UniWell, and they are really developing research and training programs, everything related to well-being and mental health. So those are really good initiatives that we start seeing and that we can, of course, only encourage. So that's it. That's my contact. So we can move on to the questions.
Great. Well, thank you very much. First of all, everyone already, the presenters for enlightening us with this great information. I think it was well received already by the audience. What I could see from a lot of the emoticons, especially as well. So thanks for that. We did already receive some questions, so we go over to those. I just want to emphasize for the people that joined later or watching the recording, which I know more and more these days people do, as we are all overwhelmed with a lot of work and studies, and of course you cannot watch everything right away. That's totally fine. That's why we record this, so you can watch it at your own pace whenever you like. You can still answer polls as well, by the way. So and ask questions. You can write questions as well in the recording. We can pass them on if needed. All right, let's get to some of the questions. So we had a question: how do you deal with personal issue and the rigorous research courses together? This was in the beginning. I think you gave a lot of the ideas, Solen, already, or some of the others as well. But does anyone want to say something else about this question? How do you deal with personal issues and the rigorous research courses?
I was wondering if maybe the question was addressed to Christian, because he was mentioning that he does research, but I'm not sure maybe if the participant could precise. Because it's true that Christian does a lot of things.
Okay, so I see in the chat actually, yes, for Christian. Christian, do you want to address this question?
Yes, please. Can you repeat the question?
Yes, sure. How do you deal with personal issues and the rigorous research courses together?
Okay. I think it's nearly the same that Solène presented. So I think research courses are like I like study and study courses. So the method to deal with personal issue, I think it's the same that the method that the students met in their studies. So the good and exciting advice that Soleil gave can be very interesting to apply in such circumstances, like mindfulness, exercise, stretching, crafting, work organization. So yes, I think that's Solène who has the best answer. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah, I think Solène, you need to give some good examples to that. So I hope that gives some tools, to help in these situations. And that's was also about the question. Hope that helped you further. Let's continue. We see, well, I think there are a couple of comments more than questions, maybe from some students, that it's kind of hard to deal with both at the same time. I do manage to claim one and try to focus to do another thing, but I need to help more to overcome that better, says Ephraim. Thank you for that. And Anna also gave her insight about I sometimes struggle with panic attacks. It affects the performance in high pressure situations. So hopefully we could help you a little bit with some ideas. I don't know if there's anything else anyone wants to say about that before we go.
Yeah, if I may,
Yeah.
I was very touched that you shared that with us. Thank you very much. And I think that maybe the important question is how often do you struggle with this? And when it's happening, how do you deal with it? How do you manage? If it's not too often and quite manageable, then in that case, I would recommend watching some maybe coaching videos or even seeing a coach to help you find some solutions of what you can do when it happens and what you can do to prevent this situation. But if it's more and more often, if it's worse and worse every time, then maybe you should see a psychologist, someone who can help you understand why it happens and maybe deconstruct the idea in your mind and your body that makes you react this way. So yes, try to understand better what happens, and then don't hesitate to look for help if you think that's necessary.
Yeah, thank you. We did get the feedback from Anna. It's not too often, only more for exams. So maybe, yeah, some specific, as she I think indicated, high pressure
Yeah.
situations. But thanks for that, Solan. We get the question from Bartek. To what extent is the university responsible for the mental health of the students, in your opinion? Now, maybe, I don't know if each of you have an opinion about that. I see Sue nodding, so maybe Sue, you do have an idea. You, of course, were presenting a bit about this already, about what Embry Riddle is doing, but maybe you want to, say something more about that.
Yeah, sure. And this could differ from culture to culture, country to country. But I know in the States, the mental health of the student is not the responsibility of the university. And I want to clarify that in a second. But a university is not a mental health institution. It's an institution of academics and delivering learning and things like that. However, I think it's the responsibility of the university to provide an environment that allows students to, express themselves in a way that works for the individual. So you also want to take away any barriers to students being able to, have a ability to take care of themselves, I guess, is the only way I can think of it. Like, provide pathways for a student to succeed, because if a student is succeeding, the mental health is going to be better. If you are an institution that doesn't control or have a mechanism for students to report bullying, or go to someone for help when they're not feeling really good because of maybe a social reason or a reason of academics, whatever. But I think ultimately it is not the university's responsibility for a student's mental health. And again, that's coming from my culture, coming from my university, on how that is. And something I think that we haven't mentioned in personal mental health is, we've talked about social media and surrounding yourself with people that are good, but also something I think that is equally important for some people, and it's not for everybody, but is also their faith life. So if you have a faith, I think that's something that can also play a role in improving your mental health or helping you with your mental health. But something that's definitely a factor that can be a positive influence in your life.
Okay, great. Thank you, Sue. That is appreciated. We also got thanks from Bartek, so I hope that answered the question. and give an idea at least
Yes,
also about your opinion.
and
The others too, yeah, sure, go ahead.
yes, I do agree with you, and I think yes, it's very important for the university to create a quality learning environment for the success and well-being of everyone, for the students, and the well-being of the student can affect also the staff and academics. And um, I'm doing some research, trying to demonstrate that well-being in the university can be a factor of performance and the level of better performance for the educational organization. So I think everything is interrelated, and this issue is a very a systemic issue.
Great, thanks Christian for that addition. Solan, I think you want maybe to add something, or?
Yeah, I very much agree with my two colleagues. I just wanted to add a small thing for students who are watching us, or anyone actually, is that be sure that you are worth it, that you are worth getting better, that you are worth the respect from others, the respect from yourself, and nobody can take that away from you. That's what I wanted to share.
Great. I think that is a very nice finish, I would almost say, for wrapping this up. But we're getting towards the end, but I think that is maybe one of the very good conclusions, I think I would say from my side. Sue, you wanted to add something to that, or you were adding your vote?
Just really quick too. I mean, we all
Yes.
go through. I know I talk a lot. We all go through our own issues and things that get us really down. But the important thing to know, and the one thing that we talk to our student about, is, these are temporary. Tomorrow's a different day. Day after tomorrow is a different day, and don't let anybody put your value on you. You put your own value on yourself, because you are worth it. So tomorrow's another day. Tomorrow's a brighter day. Don't let today get you down. And if it does, it's going to go away. You define you. Nobody else defines you but you. And I've got a lot of stories on that one too.
Great. Thank you very much. And we're getting some thank yous already. Thanks for those words. With that, I think we'll round the session. I think that was a great ending as well, and appreciate all of your times. Before we leave, I'd like to ask actually a couple of things. I had a polling question, but I have one more opening up right now, because we create these topics for you, and you is the audience, the students, also the universities. I think we had a couple of universities join today as well. I know they are very signed up on this as well. So we create these topics a couple of times a year, to discuss these important themes that we feel are present in education. We usually do student recruitment to help students study abroad, but we also feel we have a good, important role in these topics, in connecting people. So we have done sessions about sustainable campuses in the past. So I will put the link on the screen, in the chat. But if you have an interest in other topics, do let us know. There's the polling to vote on any of those, because we'd like to hear more about what you'd like to hear about, right? So we want to deliver them for you. So I see some of the pollings already coming through. Thank you. I'm submitting now the link to some of the webinar summits that we have done. Again, sustainable campuses was one, also about soft skills. So I think maybe that leads in a little bit more to this point as well here, how the importance is of soft skills. And we would combine it with especially AI that is happening in today's world, right? The big word of artificial intelligence. So I think that was an interesting session that we had a couple of months ago. do check them out. They are available there on demand, so to say. And yeah, with that, I would like to thank very much the three presenters. They freed up their time. I know you're busy. I know you're traveling. You've been in different places of the world. But I, from my side, really appreciate you taking the time, being available, and giving your insights. You have great experience in this topic, as was demonstrated as well. But I'm sure you, you made a difference, and you probably make a difference for some students that join us as well today. So thank you, from my side, and everyone else. Have a good day. As Sue was summing up well, so today's today, tomorrow's tomorrow. But yeah, you are worth it, and have a great one today. So wishing you all the best. Bye bye from my side.
Thank you, Luke, for having us. Thanks, Christian and Sue, and thanks to the attendees.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Yeah, thank you
Bye-bye.
guys. Do we stay on or do we go?
Thank you all. Bye bye.